Yeah. It's the circus.
I've not heard this music yet.
Your life's about to change. Wait for the beat to drop. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Wow. That's something.
Well, welcome everyone to the not the A side. Not the A side. The MMA fighting Triller Fight Club, Evander Holyfield versus Vitor Belfort post-fight show. I am your host, José Youngs. It's great to be back in the hosting show. It's been a month since I did one of these live chats, but we'll answer your questions later. We're going to give us our immediate reaction. Joining us is a three-man crew this time. The heavy hitters are here. Starting off, I don't know who Casey's going to kick it to first. I'm going to say Sean Al-Shadi. Yep, on the money. Called it. Joining us, Stephen Marrocco, who hasn't been on one of these in a minute, I don't think. And of course, Casey Leydon, producer extraordinaire on the ones and twos, with the absolutely fantastic NFL Films-esque music to kick off our Triller Fight Club post-show. But, gentlemen, as the music continues, gentlemen, we are just moments removed from watching what Casey described as a circus to kick this post-fight show off. I don't know if that's how you would describe it. I thought it was, I'll agree, a circus. Donald Trump did a lot of things. Corey Masvidal did a lot of things. 50 Cent did a lot of things. But we're going to talk about the fights. We'll start with the co-main event before moving to the main event. Sean, I want to start with you. Anderson Silva absolutely sparked Tito Ortiz cold in a result I think most of us should have predicted, given what we've seen Anderson do both in the octagon and in the boxing ring, and what we've seen Tito Ortiz do the last few years. But your immediate thoughts after watching what Anderson Silva did.
Yeah, I mean, I think calling this whole event a circus is being generous, if we're being honest. I mean, most of this was pretty sad to watch. It was a very bizarre night just in general. But the Anderson Silva thing was the one shining moment of this, right? That was the one kind of like feel good fight, feel good, outcome that we kind of saw. I said this after the Julio Cesar Chavez fight, and I'm going to say it again. It is so cool right now what's happening with Anderson Silva, because this is one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. It's one of the best just figures that we've ever had in the history of our sport. One of the, legendary figure, greatest middleweight of all time, one of the most stylish fighters, on and on and on. And he did not get the exit that a legend like him deserved to get from the UFC. The last 5 years or so, we've just been spinning our wheels with Anderson, throwing him up against guys like Izzy and Uriah Hall and Jared Cannonier and all this stupid silliness that we've been doing, when he could have been doing things like this the whole time, just having fun, using some creativity in the matchmaking. It is so cool to see Anderson getting the kind of send-off that he has deserved for so long. And tonight was just one more addition to it, one more notch in this final chapter. Anderson deserved a final chapter like what he's getting this year, and I'm so excited for it, man. It feels special every time you can see Anderson compete, even now, even today, even at age 46, even on a Triller fight card that doesn't make any sense in a boxing match against Tito Ortiz. All of it was stupid, but we got another classic Anderson moment, and I'm here for it.
Steven, you've covered a lot of Anderson Silva fights. You've covered a lot of Tito Ortiz fights. What is your immediate reaction to seeing Anderson Silva do bad things to Tito Ortiz inside the squared circle?
I had a couple thoughts. I mean, before the fight was taking place, I remember interviewing Tito in 2009 or 2010 coming out of the Wild Card boxing gym. And he was working with Freddie. He was trying to get his hands up to speed and trying to be more of a well-rounded fighter, not just a ground and pound artist. He did better over the years. He was never of the quality or the caliber of Anderson Silva. Just didn't have the time and didn't need to develop the skills as much as somebody like Anderson did, given his primary skill set. So, I mean, it kind of went how I expected. The fact that he knocked him out cold, to me, it could be indicative of how much weight Tito cut. I mean, 40 pounds in a month. Most of this camp was about cutting weight for Tito. And I would say that given rehydration, we're talking about significantly less space in the brain to absorb blows and more age. It just all the all the stars weren't really lining up for Tito, to say nothing of his skill set coming into the fight. I mean, just didn't have the time, didn't have the natural time in the ring, and just essentially got outclassed by one of our sport's best strikers ever.
I don't know if any of you guys follow Joe Schilling, but his immediate reaction was, who knew wrestlers didn't know how to throw a punch? But Casey, 15 years ago today, Anderson Silva beat Lee Murray to win the Cage Rage Middleweight Championship of the World. 2021, he is knocking Tito Ortiz out cold on a phone app, if you would, after a bunch of concerts. Your immediate thoughts?
Well, first of all, Shaheen, you said the feel-good moment. Are you not a Tito Ortiz fan? What are you talking about? That was a horrible moment for Tito Ortiz. How was that a feel-good moment, Shaheen?
I'm just saying, any positive Anderson moment for me is always going to be a feel-good moment. That is one of the few guys I will say. He's one of my guys. Always has been.
He's an MMA legend, bro. Ground and pound legend. Where's the respect for Tito Ortiz, man? No, I'm just joking. I was super happy Anderson won. That was awesome. That was like, yeah, we all love Anderson Silva. He's great to the fans. He's put a great fights over the years. Tito Ortiz, you can't talk about him without talking about what he's done now outside of the cage and his kind of post, UFC, post Bellator career. But no, super awesome. Anderson Silva looked super duper, and I think Steven nailed it with the dehydration aspect of Tito Ortiz. If this fight was at, say, proper 210, or even 220, where Tito would, without a doubt, have, the muscle and size advantage, a bigger one without the big weight cut, the fight could have been more competitive. I don't think Tito wins either way. But by Anderson Silva basically just playing chess while Tito's playing checkers in the pre-fight build-up, in the sense that even when the contract was signed, the fact that he got Tito to agree to 195, so Tito spent his entire camp just training to cut weight and not actually training to learn how to box, which is not MMA boxing. Boxing is boxing. The footwork is entirely different. And so his entire camp was just him cutting weight and just him doing Instagram live videos about how many miles he's running and how sweaty he is, and just him taking off sweaty hoodies and weird stuff like that. So Anderson Silva, great performance, awesome. Let's see how long this Anderson Silva boxing train goes. But
well, that was going to lead to my next question. I did the Twitter reacts for the site, and it was a pretty vast majority of not just UFC fans, but even some like Clarissa Shields threw this option out. Sean, I'll start with you again. A lot of people want to see Anderson Silva fight Jake Paul next, given like they're closer to the actual weight of one another than Tyron Woodley, who spent almost his entire career at 170. Then, of course, Ben Askren, same thing, 170, and then a couple non-boxers. Are you on this train? Do you want to see Anderson Silva fight Jake Paul? Or, as we're going to talk about in the main event, do you want to see that Vitor Jake Paul fight?
I mean, I kind of am into this Anderson and Paul brother thing, right? Like, because it could be Logan too. He's the bigger brother, I think, out of the two. I'm here for it, man. Like, again, I'm just really happy for what Anderson is doing right now. I'm happy for him getting paychecks where he's not getting punched out by Uriah Hall and getting his legs broken again by Jared Cannonier and all of this. Like, this is so much fun to be doing this with Anderson. He literally came in here, barely broke a sweat, snatched 20% of that man's purse, knowing ahead of time that he was going to be able to do that, and then just got another highlight to throw onto his reel, like a monster highlight at age 46. Like, no one is living a better life right now than Anderson Silva in MMA, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, man, give it. The Jake Paul thing would be so interesting to me. Like, I have been hesitant to jump aboard the Paul train for like a while on all this. The Woodley one got me sucked in. I admitted that in my post-fight column, but I would be so into the Anderson Silva versus Jake Paul thing. Because like the thing about all these MMA versus boxing crossovers, a lot of the MMA guys don't look like boxers in there, right? Like we talked about that with the Tyron fight, where Tyron didn't really look like a boxer for like long stretches of that fight. Anderson is the one guy who actually does look like a boxer out of all of the MMA fighters we're sending in here doing this. Like the difference between him and Tito and just how they looked in their stances and their punches, and it was so evident from the first 20 seconds. Like, I would be here to see Anderson Silva fight either of these Paul brothers and make just mad money in these closing chapters of his career.
Steven, same question. Are you aboard one of the Paul brothers fighting 40-something-year-old Anderson Silva?
I wouldn't say that Woodley didn't look like a boxer. I'd say he looked like a guy who couldn't pull the trigger, which is has been his issue, for a lot of his career. And we all wanted him so badly to show up. And like the previous matchups, it was one of these things. Well, if X happened, then maybe Y can happen. If Ben Askren, trains with the right people and he just has a great night, then maybe he has a chance. If Tyron catches him with that right hand, does the right training and also shows up on fight night, then he has a chance. I really think Anderson Silva out of the gate is the guy who has the best chance. Like he's actually the technician that can make this happen. And, I'm not sure Jake Paul takes this fight because it's like, I think that he's a smart guy and he knows that there's probably a huge gap between Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva in a boxing ring. If he's
and Tommy Fury, a huge gap between them and Tommy Fury too. Like Tommy Fury would get smoked by Anderson Silva, over being honest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And didn't you say that on Twitter? Somebody said that on Twitter.
I didn't say it. No.
I think the Paul brothers smoked Tommy Fury too. I don't think Tommy Fury is that talented a boxer for his record, but that's another conversation. Yeah, he's just a beautiful man that isn't a very good boxer. Casey?
No, Jake Paul versus Anderson Silva is not happening. And it won't happen because Jake Paul is a prize fighter, and he needs to build up a fight. You can't build up a fight and be the face if you're gonna fight Anderson Silva. That's basically it. And I'm not even worried about the competition thing. Like, how's that fight gonna build up? That's Jake Paul allure. He gets that part of the build up. That's what sells the fight. It's not the quality of the fight itself. It's the build up to that fight. And unfortunately for Anderson Silva, since he's the good guy, I don't think that fight really works in a prize fighting sense. Of course, I want to see it, but I just don't think it happens. Sorry.
Let me throw this.
I don't know. I mean, if you guys disagree, I just don't see it happening in a promotional sense.
Well, no, I agree. Like, if you're Jake Paul and you can fight Tommy Fury for lots and lots of money, like, why would you not just fight Tommy Fury? Like Anderson Silva is not the fight to take if you're Jake Paul. But I will say, what's next for Tito Ortiz? Like, this has me thinking back to the Dana White versus Tito Ortiz boxing match that we never got all the way in 2000, 2001 callback. Thinking back on that now, having just watched this, who do you think would have won that fight?
I'm still picking Tito, but
yeah, me too.
I'm still picking Tito, but you know what? Hey, who knows? We can still see it. We can pull up some Spike TV and see if we can get it running on some Spike.
Oh, the revisionist history at play. Tito gets knocked on his face in one time, and you guys just count him out.
Yeah, I count.
This also marks Tito Ortiz's final fight, apparently, on his Combate Americas contract. So now he is officially a free agent. Campbell McLaren was backstage with him. If you follow Campbell's Twitter, and I believe I read a report saying that he is now officially a free agent after getting knocked dead inside of a squared circle. But moving on to another guy who actually called out Jake Paul inside of the boxing ring. Vitor Belfort got the TKO victory over one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, Evander Holyfield. Sean, I think I saw you tweet about this. That just kind of wasn't very fun to watch. Evander Holyfield, of course, the lead up to the fight, of course, Vitor was supposed to fight Oscar De La Hoya. Oscar De La Hoya got COVID. Evander stepped in on short notice. And our interview that he did on our site with our own Mike Peck, who's on site, was kind of uncomfortable to watch. I think a lot of people in our comment section, especially on Instagram and Twitter, because I was kind of monitoring it for any nasty comments, a lot of them were very concerned after hearing Evander's talk, like him actually reflecting on the open workout that he did, and people concerned about his age. A little bit of an incoherent kind of meandering analysis from the heavyweight great. Got stopped inside one round by Vitor Belfort. So, Sean, I'll start with you. What did you make of Evander's performance and the referee's stoppage and Vitor's performance as a whole in that main event?
Yeah, man, you mentioned the concern. I think the concern was sort of the overwhelming narrative coming into this, right? Just especially after that Mike Heck interview on MMA Fighting. It was justified, right? Like, that was incredibly justified concern. It was really gross. Like, I felt really gross after the fight. Like, it was tough to watch. It wasn't fun at all to watch Vitor do that to a 58-year-old man who's really struggling to speak all throughout the week. Like, I don't know, man. This was Florida, and you got a lot of reminders of that throughout the night. That this was definitely in Florida, with some of the stuff that happened. But that fight never ever should have been allowed to happen. The commission should be ashamed of themselves for letting it happen. And people who are saying that was an early stoppage, that the referee, I think Mr. Burgos should have let Holyfield take more damage. Yeah, you're out of your mind. I don't know what you're watching, because I just watched an old man get beat up in a way that was very uncomfortable for me.
Which fight are we talking about? Oh, sorry. I kid.
I believe Sean. Who was on the commentary? Sean Porter. He was one of the boxers. He was the actual professional boxer doing commentary, and he said the same thing Sean said. For anyone wanting Evander to go out on his shield, that is not what the referee is there for. He is 100% there to stop that before it happens. I had absolutely no problem with the stoppage. I thought it was gross even leading into this fight, that this fight was going to happen. But Steven, you did a lot of legwork on figuring out the rules and whether Florida was going to sanction this fight, whether it's a professional fight or an exhibition fight, how long would the rounds be. Now that it is all said and done, didn't even matter how long the round. I guess it did matter how long the rounds would be, but how many rounds there were going to be, because they didn't even get out of the first round. So, initial thoughts of what we witnessed in the main event.
It should have never been licensed. They should have never done it. This didn't even get to paperwork being submitted in California. They didn't get past the idea stage. They lost Oscar, and they pitched Evander as the backup, and it didn't. I think Andy took Andy Foster from California State Athletic Commission, thought about it maybe for about 30 minutes and then said no. It did not get to that point where it actually became a real thing, and it shouldn't have gotten to that point in Florida. It absolutely should not have. And that video, Mike's interview and the workout video, I sent it to the commission and I asked for the reaction. Now, the commission is insulated by a PR firm, as a lot of athletic commissions are these days. So you don't talk to the actual people that make the decisions. But I'd really, really like to know what they were thinking, like how they justified it. And I know one way, and that is because the fighters themselves submit the medical paperwork. None of the medicals that were submitted on Saturday night were submitted because the commission ordered them, other than what they order for all the fighters that are over 40. So no specific medical testing was done for this specific fight, because they didn't have the time. It was a week's notice or something like that. So they're taking most likely paperwork that's more favorable to Evander. But even irrespective of all that, just listen to the guy talk.
And Steven, we want to continue this conversation, but we just got word from Mike Heck that the post-fight press conference with all of the fighters we have just been talking about is about to start within the next 2 to 5 minutes. So, according to Mike Heck on our MMA fighting group chat, about to start 2 minutes from our man on site. So for people watching this post show, stay on this YouTube page and you can hear from all the people we were just talking about. We're gonna
go straight to the post show, because I have Mike here. We're just gonna keep this. Stream
is this what we're saying? I mean, we have another stream built, ready to go. So unless you want to just keep everything in one spot for people, all the 1,300 people watching, Casey, I will leave it up to you. You are the producer.
Let's keep it here. All right. We'll change the headline.
Keep it here on MMA Fighting's YouTube page on this stream you can hear from all of the pressers. This has been Jose. That's been Sean. That's been Steven. I don't know where he is on my screen. And that's, of course, been Casey. Casey, I'm sure we'll hear from you. But thank you, gentlemen. And stay tuned on MMAfighting.com for all of our post-fight recaps, write-ups, and everything. Yeah. See you then.
So stay here and just hold on. We're going to have the post-presser up just 1 second. I'm going to throw some maybe some cool jazz music to kind of calm everyone down. No, look at this guy. All right. Hold on a moment.
Ah!
Thank you for waiting. We're waiting for the post presser to be starting just a little bit. It looks like they're still setting up the chairs. So thanks for hanging out, and leave some nice comments in the YouTube live chat.
Test, 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 testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing, testing. All right, well.
I was like, hell no, to go to the war. And then we have to go to the war. So we just closed the show. What do you want to say? Yeah, why? You know what? That's gonna change. Tonight is gonna change. It's gonna change. I'm so sorry. No. The lawyer. Thank you. I'm just a small Floyd, mate. What can I do?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the post-fight press conference for Triller Fight Club Legends 2 here at the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. On behalf of the entire Triller Fight Club team led by Ryan Kavanaugh, also Bobby Snarnovich as well, we thank you so much for tuning in to the pay-per-view. On the stage right now, we have all four winners who were victorious tonight on the pay-per-view portion. To my left, I have the Haymaker, David Haye, with the victory over Joe Fournier. Round of applause for David Haye. Welcome back to the ring. Also, the man to my immediate left, a victory over the former cruiserweight and heavyweight champion of the world, the International Boxing Hall of Famer. He is now 2-0 as a professional boxer, and he looked fantastic tonight, ladies and gentlemen. The Phenom, Vitor Belfort. To my right, this young man has dealt with his fair share of adversity, and he has come out with a massive win. This fight was captivating. It gave you ebbs and flows. He couldn't even see, but he dug down deep and got a win. He punches his ticket to being the #1 contender for a world championship at 130 pounds. The entire country of Ireland should be so proud of this young man. Jono Carroll, ladies and gentlemen, with the win over Andy Vincent. And talk about highlight reel finishes. My goodness, was that lethal by the former UFC middleweight champion of the world. He turned back the clock and reminded me of that when he was knocking out Forrest Griffin and wiping out guys in his reign of dominance in the UFC. Comes out and dispatches of Tito Ortiz. I guess he doesn't even get paid by the round because it didn't last that long. Ladies and gentlemen, the Spider, Anderson Silva. I'm going to start off with David Haye. And David, for you, coming back into the ring after your layoff at 40 years of age, how good did you feel tonight? Obviously, Joe Fournier, what a tough competitor. He gave his all. It's not easy to be able to deal with your power punches, believe me. But what was that like back in the ring?
It felt really good. It was nice to be back. As you said, 3 years out of the ring. I haven't hit a bag, had no sparring. So it was nice. I had 4 weeks preparation for this. And I got in there, I felt fresh. I felt sharp. My timing felt good. And I was able to enjoy myself. Normally, I go out there trying to knock people out straight away. But I tried to enjoy myself. I wanted to give 8 rounds of good entertainment. And I think people enjoyed it.
So for you, I mean, was there any signs
the opposite to these guys.
For you, did you feel any ring rust? Did it take a couple rounds to get going again? Because the one thing about it is that you got into your rhythm rather quickly, and I didn't see any signs of ring rust.
No, I felt really good. I felt sharp. My timing felt good. I could see the shots coming. I got caught with a few shots here and there, but I hadn't done much sparring for this. Usually I do probably 60, 70, 80 rounds of sparring per fight. This time I hardly did any. I felt sharp. I felt fresh. I've hurt my body over the years in training, really pushing myself. I needed this rest. I needed my body to just rejuvenate, and I feel I'm ready to do some big things.
So Triller Fight Club does things a little bit differently. It's unconventional. It's unique. They breathe fresh air into the sport. But you were interviewed right before you were getting ready to make your ring walk by our very own Ashley Haas. What was that like, being interviewed as you're getting ready to walk to the ring?
Yeah, that's never happened before, but it was nice. Pre-fight, I'm quite relaxed. I'm calm. I know what's going to happen in the ring. So interviewing me before, it was nice. I told her exactly how I felt, and I went out there and did exactly what I said I was going to do.
So coming into this fight with Joe Fournier, I want to know, because after the fight was over, for those that didn't see, you called out Tyson Fury. So what I want to know, because I'm curious, did you have Tyson Fury's name in your mind even before you fought Joe Fournier? It was sort of the thing like, let me see how I feel, let me see how I perform, and then if I'm good and I feel great, then I want him.
It's been in my mind for a long time, since 2013 when we were scheduled to fight. The fight didn't happen. I got an injury. I've always wanted that fight, and I've seen him go from strength to strength. He's got better and better, and his reputation's got up there. He's the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. So many people believe he's number one. And if I'm going to come back into the sport of boxing in a real fight against, someone special, that is the guy I know I can beat. I know his style. I know what he does well. And my attributes don't work for his style. And I think him and his team know that. I think maybe they think I'm a little old, so they probably will take the fight. But I'm looking for the biggest fight out there, and you don't get any bigger than the 6'9" undefeated Tyson Fury.
My final question to you, David, if playing devil's advocate here, what if he says he has a matchup against Deontay Wilder in October? What if he says you need one more fight? Do you have a name that you would go ahead and go after to be able to then get to Tyson Fury?
I'd only come back for Tyson Fury.
Okay.
In my mind, I don't want to show him what I've got. I was able to win this fight without showing the haymaker. I don't want him to know what I've got left. I want to surprise him on the night.
David, hey, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and go over to my right. We're going to go ahead and save Vitor and Anderson. We're going to go in the order of the pay-per-view fights, just so you're aware. I'm not bouncing around all crazy. But Jono Carroll, the fact that you told us in the fighter meetings you have a goal book in 2022, you're going to become a world champion. Well, lo and behold, tonight against Andy Vincent's, your victory, you are now guaranteed a world title shot. With everything you've been through, the fact that you lost a child, you have a beautiful family, but now the significance, a couple hours later, what does this win mean to you?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I had a really rough year this year, but I always say you have to sacrifice, make big sacrifices in boxing and in life. If you don't make those sacrifices, then your dreams become those sacrifices. And I truly believe that, I made those sacrifices. I wrote down all my goals, everything that I want to accomplish, and I read them every morning and every night. So to me, it's not a matter of if, but, or it's only when I'm going to accomplish these goals. And I actually have won a world title in 2021 or 2022. And then I have, or maybe before then, with a little smiley emoji, you know what I mean? So God knows, but God just, or the universe, whatever you want to believe in, just placed this right in front of me, and He made this for the world title eliminator. And I just believe if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. So for me, I genuinely, I'm just waiting for the time that I become world champion. And I actually have wrote down as well that when I become world champion, I can move on to the next chapter of my life, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to closing this chapter and becoming a nice businessman, doing whatever, and being a nice family man, spending quality time with my family. I don't like leaving my family for all these camps, but sacrifices have to be made. And with Queen of a Woman at home, she she's amazing. You know what I mean? She gave me the strength. She told me the night we lost the baby, we went to bed. The next day, she was like, "Go over and buy yourself some shorts and trainers, and you need to go for a jog. You need to be 100% for this fight." She was still in hospital. Like, we were in the hospital. I was running up and down the car park like a lunatic. I say, people are like, "Who is this fella? Why is he up there in the bleeding hospital car park?" You know what I mean? I just done mad things, but at the same, I was doing press ups in the toilet because I couldn't train with the mask on, because you have to wear a mask in the hospital. It was a mad year, but all those things. It all becomes worth it. You know, I'm a little step closer to my dream, my goals. And I won't be accomplished as a man until I win that world title. So it better come sooner or later, because I'm 29 now and getting on. This body can't take too much more punishment.
You told me in the post-fight interview, for the media members who are obviously covering it and not listening to the broadcast, but there was a period in the fight, and this blew my mind, because you were getting tagged in that 9th round with big shots from Andy Vincent. 8th, sorry. Stand corrected. See,
I smashed him in that 9th round, so
but,
it's the 8th.
So you smashed him in the 9th round, but in the 8th, you couldn't see. That's why the doctor was asking you, and you told me that you were pretty much blind in the fight, and you were fighting on guts and instinct. How did you even get through that round? Because you couldn't see. How's that even possible?
Yeah, it was a nightmare. I've had way worse cuts than this in the past, but they've actually been longer and kind of the blood dripped down to the side. But this time it was just right on the eye bone, and it kept dripping straight in my eye. And I was just, every time I blinked, I got like a red blur, and I couldn't see anything. And then every time I tried to wipe it, he kept hitting me with a jab, and I was like, oh. So then I started nearly dropping the hand, so I didn't wipe it. I was trying to just stay as far away from it as possible. And then he was catching me, tagging me with silly shots. But it was that little lapse of concentration. And when I walked back to that corner, I was just thinking, this gold book, like, I'm not going home. Or like,
so it's the gold book.
The gold book was in that night.
You being a world champion in 2022.
Yeah, I was literally walking here. I was like, I can't lose this, because I'm not even tired. Like, I'm 100% here. I'm not losing this just because I can't see. I was like, I'm just going to close the distance and go to war. And I said it to my trainer when I sat down. He said, like, come on, we need to be winning these rounds. You had to lose them last 2 rounds. We need to win these rounds. And I said, Roy, do you want me just to go to war with him? Like, just close that gap, so at least I can, at least if I throw and I'm close, I'm going to land. And he said, yeah, go to war room. So we just went out there, put the pressure on him, and it was perfect. It worked. You know what I mean? Them last 2 rounds, what won me the fight?
How proud are you? Because the one thing we know about fighters from Ireland, you guys come and you bring it every single time. Your country should be proud of you, but how proud are you to represent your country inside this ring on a global stage that was Triller Fight Club?
Yeah, do you know what? I'm very proud, but I'm also my worst critic at the same time. I've been performing a million times better than what I performed in here in the gym. You know what I mean? So when we went back to the dressing room, me and my coach was like, we know that's not us. We know. I had 5 weeks only training for this fight, you know, so, and it wasn't correct. At times I was on knife feeds and I was sparring the next day, you know what I mean? So it wasn't correct. So we were burning the candle at both ends. And then I was like, right, I went to Mexico then, and at least the last 3 weeks, we got serious then. But up to that point, it was like I was knife feeds every second night, you know what I mean? It was hard work. But it's all worth it, you know? I'm going home with my family being very proud of me, my country watching being proud of me, and my team and sponsors and everyone. I've made them proud. The most important thing, you have to close the show. Champions know how to close the show.
You
know
did
what I mean?
that.
And I had to do that. I had no other option, you know what I mean? And when it comes push or shove, it's either right, you bite down the gum shield and you become a champion. That's how winning is done.
And finally, what do you want to tell the rest of the champions at 130? Because now you have the #1 contender status. Your next fight will be for the world title. What do you want to tell all the champions at 130 pounds?
I'm coming. King Kong Carroll is coming, and I can't wait, because when I have a 12-week camp, the previous camp went amazing, and I was so sharp, I was so fit. It was incredible. I was in the best shape of my life. And then I went home, and my baby came out of hospital, so then I was, you know, it was a crazy time. So this one wasn't correct. But when I'm 100% and I get a 12-week camp, I'm going to destroy all them champions. I'm coming. And I don't even know the man's name who has the WBA, but I'm taking that belt.
Jono Carroll, ladies and gentlemen, the #1 contender at 130 pounds, Anderson Silva. the former UFC middleweight champion of the world, turning back the clock, wiping out Tito Ortiz. Anderson, it was like I was watching you in 2008, 2009 with how you turned back the clock. How good did that win feel tonight over Tito Ortiz?
Wow, I'm so happy. I think my team working hard. I'm working hard, and I just try to enjoy every single moment I come inside the cage, inside the ring. And I need to say thank you, God, for one more time, for giving me the opportunity to come in here and show you my job.
In such a vicious sport where you literally risk your life every single time you step inside this ring, how do you maintain your poise, your composure, and you're just so relaxed because you move so fluid and almost effortlessly?
Wow, I think the training is tough, and when I train with my partners, uh, I feel ready for everything inside the ring, and my coach trained me a lot. Coach Doria helped me to continue doing my job, and Coach Nico too, and my partners, Eliezer, little Nico, my son Gabriel helped me a lot, my son Khalil too, and I'm so happy, because when I train in the gym and I feel how much the guys beating me and knock me and say, whoa, I don't know. I don't go continue to that. I'm old. I'm too old for that. And when my coach come and talk to me in the bedroom and say, hey, come on, wake up. It's your partners. Prepare you for, stay ready for war. And I'm here.
Also, on the undercard, you had one of your students, a guy who looks up to you. You guys share the same last name, but you guys aren't related. Eliezer Silva got his professional debut. He was successful. He had a unanimous decision victory. Did you watch his fight? And did that give you any extra motivation to come out and really put on a show? Because a guy who you literally brought to this country, a man who dreamed of training with you, has now gotten a professional victory and made his pro debut successfully under your card.
Wow. I'm so happy, And I talk to him and say, man, let me tell you something. You don't win this fight, I promise. I go put on the ground and go beat you. Because you knock my whole time in the gym. You can't fail in a fight, But yeah, Eliezer is a good guy, is a very good kid, is my little brother. And I custom say, I say your whole time for my friends, I don't have a friends in the gym. I have a family. And Eliezer part of my family.
Did you feel like Tito couldn't handle your power? I mean, obviously the fight ended quickly, but initially in the first exchange or two, did you think like he couldn't handle your power?
Wow, Tito is a great fighter, and I prepare my body and my mind for war. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and I'm win this time, and I'm so happy.
So what's next for the Spider? Who do you want?
I don't know. I go home and stay with my family and continue learn more Wing Chun and training boxing.
So Vitor wants Jake Paul. So I'm going to go ahead and, I want to go ahead and bring up a name that Vitor was supposed to fight against because I know that you want Jake Paul next. But what about potentially if Vitor, if you don't fight Jake Paul or whatever the case may be, what about Anderson Silva and Oscar De La Hoya? Does that fight interest you?
Wow, I think the fight interesting is Vitor because Vitor is in the front of me, and I think De La Hoya needs to fight with Vitor, and Jack Paul and your brother have a chance for fight with me and Vitor. It's a good fight.
What do you want to tell the fight fans out there who continue to support you throughout the years? And obviously now you look fantastic in boxing. Social media is raving about your performance tonight in the boxing ring, claiming that you might have the best transition or one of the best transitions from MMA to boxing.
Wow, I train in boxing for my entire life. I remember the first time I'm in Brazil, I go to try out the soccer in a Corinthians team, and I come late and I watching the guys running in the field, and I say, what is happening there? And I walk in, and the guys start training boxing, and with Vitor Ribeiro. He's a great coach. He's a great man. He's passed away, and asked me, "You training boxing?" I say, "No, I come to try out the soccer play." And say, "Okay, but what happened?" I'm late. Okay. Well, here your gloves and your shoes. Come training, and I start training boxing, and I'm very lucky because when Minotauro take care of me and introduce me to Coach Doria and the whole team in Bahia, the champion, and I'm never stopped training boxing, and I love, and it's funny and incredible for me because I love boxing, and
You're
I
damn
watch,
good at it, I'll tell you that.
yeah, and I just watching the Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., and I say, whoa, one day maybe I go fight the same level these guys. And I'm here today, and I continue working hard for prove my respect for boxing community.
Well, Anderson, congratulations on the victory. An impressive performance, a knockout win over Tito Ortiz. Now in the main event tonight, my goodness, I'm glad I don't have to stand across the ring from him because he's a dangerous human being. The phenom, Vitor Belfort. Vitor, congratulations on the win. How would you classify this entire experience fighting here on 9/11 in front of the 45th president of the United States doing commentary, Donald J. Trump, a packed house, electricity in this building, a worldwide pay-per-view audience watching on Triller Fight Club pay-per-view. What was this like for you tonight as you defeated Evander Holyfield in the first round?
Legendary. That's what it is. It's a legendary moment. And like I said, we're going through a very tough season now. The world, a lot of people are losing their loving ones, and I know everyone becomes so political, everyone becomes so divided. And 9/11 is a time that so many people were affected in this country. I remember 20 years ago when we saw the first plane. It's like it was the end of the world. And to see today, we're so divided and people are fighting over things. People don't have patience anymore. So I think it was such a great environment today here. Great fights, great competition. And I think, we all have to learn from boxing. What boxing have to teach you, they have sometimes you have to duck, you have to escape, you have to move, you have to use your jab, you have to go for the knockout. But at the end of the day, it's a sport. So I think we all should be more caring for each other and uniting this country, the great country that is America. That's why we're here. We're immigrant. Now I'm an American. So I'm very proud to be able to have that opportunity and having the Mr. President and his son coming here, entertaining us all, dividing his time with all of us in a great moment, fighting in the car with great fighters. I'm very blessed now.
How would you classify the experience of sharing the ring? Because all of you know, when you share the ring with an opponent, there is a bond that you share. There is something that you both exchange with one another. What was the experience like sharing the ring with the Hall of Famer, the former cruiserweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield?
You never judge by how many victories you have. You're judged by the guys you fought, the fights that you fought. When you say, I went to Vietnam War, you gotta respect that warrior. So it doesn't matter which side he was. So a warrior respect another warrior. Doesn't matter. It's like martial arts teaches something different than boxing. Boxing is a sport, an art as well, but martial art teaches you only are judged by the people you're competing against. Sometimes we have a beautiful record, but you didn't compete with the greatest. So for me to be able to compete with Holyfield and watching him I remember I was fighting. I was the youngest champion fighting two guys at the same night. Holyfield was fighting for $30 million against Mike Tyson, and used to fight. You have to win $50,000 if you beat two guys. No weight division, was no organization back in the day. So it's a privilege. Boxing is being my martial arts, my top martial arts that I love it the most. Be able to transition and be able to come here and fighting one of the greatest heavyweight of all time. So it was a phenomenal opportunity for me.
So after the fight was over, you go and Ryan Kavanaugh gets in the ring, and he said he has a $25 million winner take all. 30. Well, no, it was $25 million initially. Then Bobby raised it. I guess you did. He raised five.
He raised five for Jake Paul, and they say Canelo is $40 million.
So hold on, wait a minute. Let me get this correct. So it's $30 million for Jake Paul, and then $40 million for Canelo?
Yes. How they can say no to that?
So winner take all.
Winner take all.
So all are in. Exactly. So that's who you want next. You want either Jake Paul for $30 million or you want Canelo for $40 million.
Or if Oscar he wants to, he wants to do it, he can be there too.
But I know you. So either one of those three names. But if you had a list,
Jake Paul
number one.
He deserves it.
And why is that?
Because he deserves it. He's choosing his opponent. He's working with a guy. He used to work with Lorenzo, our ex-owner. He's picking his fight. Now he cannot say no to me. He got to say yes. We got to teach him a lesson.
Do you think that with your performance tonight that you've painted him into a corner?
If he say no, all his little fans, they're going to come. I'm going to create a YouTube channel, and they're going to have to follow me.
You said they're going to follow you?
Yeah, they have to come follow me. I'm going to create a YouTube channel, and I have 3 amazing athletes in my house. We're going to entertain all his fans because he doesn't have morals. He doesn't have family values. I think he doesn't represent the fighters.
Do you think that he disrespects the sport of boxing or that he respects the sport of boxing?
No, he's just getting the attention. And someone has to give him a whip. That's me.
So you are coming from the mindset that you are the teacher and you want to teach the student. You're his father.
I'm going to put him on my lap.
Wow. So you say you're going to...
He's going to meet Daddy, Big Daddy. He's going to meet Big Daddy.
He's going to call you Big Daddy?
He has to.
That's what you're going to do to him?
You watch. I promise you. Say Big Daddy. That's how he's going to call me. Yeah, he's going to make a tattoo.
Okay, so he's going to make a tattoo.
Big Daddy.
So now we're even furthering the storyline that you want him if you beat him, if you guys fight.
When? No, you use the right word.
I said when.
Yeah, you say if.
Okay, well, I'm not the one in the negotiations, so I have to talk hypotheticals. Okay, when you guys fight, you want to go ahead and add that.
He's going to call me Big Daddy. That's all.
So Jake Paul
is going to have to... He's going to have to understand that it has levels. In life, it has level. First class, second class, third class. That's how tennis works.
So I assume you saw his last fight then against Tyron Woodley. Did you see anything that you didn't see it?
I didn't see it.
Okay,
I don't buy this pay-per-view.
Okay, well, I didn't either. I watched, the highlights. So nonetheless.
I don't waste my money.
It doesn't matter. So you want him next.
My money. I watch fighters, real fighters.
If you can't get Jake Paul next, Oscar De La Hoya, we wish him all the best on a speedy recovery. Would that fight interest you? We were supposed to be in Los Angeles today, but obviously
he's the happiest man on the planet now, my friend.
You think Oscar's the happiest man on the planet?
Right today?
Yeah.
He's the happiest man on the planet.
Really? Oh, because he didn't fight you?
You saw what's happened.
I mean, I did. I'm just trying to get what your thoughts were.
It's true.
So you want, if you can't get Jake next, you're okay with fighting
Canelo,
Oscar?
40 million. I want 40 million.
You want Canelo next?
Yeah, 40 million. It's on the table. How you say no to 40 million? Imagine.
I mean, I wouldn't say no to
Just
4
think
million.
4-0.
Much less 40 million.
Oh,
damn.
my God. I'm down.
But I want to get my ass kicked by you. So, anyways, what do you want to tell the fight fans out there that watch tonight? And obviously, you have this desire to continue your boxing career. But what do you want to tell the fight fans out there that watch tonight?
I want to thank the fight fans, but my dream is to mix, really a little bit of rules where we can grab. So I'm looking for us MMA fighters really fight boxers in a fair way that bring advantage for us as well, because the clinch what we do the boxing and MMA is different. So I hopefully can grab the neck, push, grab the fist. I'm not talking about spinning punching because boxers cannot handle that very much. It takes time to do it, but I mean I would like to kind of make some legendary fights, where you can kind of bring the grabbing part, with the push and make it more free on the clinch. That's something that will intrigue the fans, and the fights will be huge. Big fights can be broken. I think Triller can shift the industry, because when you combine both sport at the same night, at the same rules, that's gonna the amount of content, and people will see something totally different. But until that happen, I will box boxers.
Well, Vitor, thank you so much. Congratulations. What a win. David Hay, Vitor Belfort, Jono Carroll, Anderson Silva. Congratulations to all. And I'm not saying this just because they're up here, but I've worked with these guys throughout the entire promotion, and they're all quality individuals. They're all great representations for combat sports, and we are very lucky that we were able to watch them display their world-class talent here tonight in Hollywood, Florida. On behalf of the entire Triller Fight Club team, led by our boss, Ryan Kavanaugh, thank you so much for joining us here tonight, and we will see you on Tuesday as we continue. You have one more?
Ryan Kavanaugh, he's going to be one of the greatest promoters who will be able to put fights that never been done before. And we need to thank Mr. President Trump coming here and supporting us, and that was fantastic.
And most importantly, Vitor, we want to thank the fans, because without your support, these guys, we would not have this opportunity. So thank you all very much. Thank you to the media, who works very hard being away from their families. Thank you for your amazing coverage all week long. We thank you so much. We will see you on Tuesdays. We have boxing back here in Hollywood, Florida with Triller Fight Club, and then we go to the Versus battle. And then October 4th, Teofimo Lopez, George Kambosos, a Monday night pay-per-view. Who doesn't love that? Thank you very much for watching Triller Fight Club Legends 2. Have a great one. We'll see you later.
Thank you for watching the Triller Post-Fight Presser. This has been a production of MMAfighting.com. Make sure you click the subscribe button and leave a comment. Thanks for watching.